Hey, listen, I thought I'll show you my way of using Lightroom. This is not a Lightroom tutorial or how to use Lightroom. Like, I'm not an expert in Lightroom and I don't even want to be. There are plenty of good tutorials online if you really want to use the application to its fullest. Now, to me, what I do in Lightroom is similar tricks that I would do in my darkroom, and therefore my use of Lightroom is extremely limited. But I'm using it as an artistic tool, and I thought I'll explain some of the tricks and things that I do there. Maybe you are interested. I got an impression that some of you might be interested in that. So it's more about what do I think when I work on a picture than actually how to do it in Lightroom. But I use Lightroom to show that to you. I thought I'll do two photos, kind of a landscape and then a portrait. So let's take a look. Okay, let's work on a landscape picture first. I have a picture on my mind. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, this is the picture that I took last May with my Kiev 60 through an Zodiac 30 lens on Ilford FP4 using Adox XT3. This is straight from the scanner, and as you can see, it has very little contrast. That's how I want to scan my pictures, very little contrast, so then I can add contrast now in editing. If there's already a lot of contrast, it is sometimes really hard to get rid of the contrast. So you can always add, but it's hard to remove. Before we do anything else, I want to make a virtual copy out of this picture. Now, Lightroom never touches the original picture, but I still always make a copy, virtual copy for my edits, because I may want to do several different edits for any particular picture. So before we do anything else, let me get the horizon straight and then the frame. I just can't work on a picture if the horizon is not straight. Okay, let's start to edit. Now these are all artistic choices, and I'm not here to teach you Lightroom, but just going through my thinking process when I edit these pictures. So what do I want to make out of this picture? There's a pier stretching on a bay or on a sea, and it seems to be an evening. So I want to maintain that evening feeling. But then I want to somehow emphasize that pier, how it pierces through the bay. It's pretty, make it more powerful. And then I somehow want to, I think, also emphasize the three-dimensional feeling, like pretty close here and then this stretching out there and then these islands in the horizon. Evening, strong pier, three-dimensional. So let's first try a bit adding contrast there a little bit. Yeah, I might do that. Just a tiny bit of more contrast. Then there are some seaweeds or something at the side. Maybe I can use these to emphasize the three-dimensional feeling. Let me see. If I create a mask here, and then I add some light, maybe some contrast. Let's see if I can make the seaweeds pop. Yeah, don't pay attention to this one yet, this pier. I'm gonna work on this a little bit later, but by stretching this, I make this transition softer. But I think I managed to make the foreground a little bit more strong. Then let's work on this pier. Now, lately Lightroom has added a lot of artificial intelligence. So it can analyze your picture and detect the picture. Let me show you what that can do. So I can go and say Lightroom that select subject. I can also select the sky and anything else. So now Lightroom thinks that my subject is this pier, but it also thinks that these islands are my subject. For some reason, these islands are not. So let me help it a bit and say that no, these islands are nothing that I'm interested in quite right now. So this is the what I want to work on. This would be like creating a mask on top of my pier, like with the cardboard in my darkroom. I've done that. You've probably done that. Now I can put some emphasis on it. Let's add some contrast and some lightning to this pier. Let's be very careful so that we don't make it too strong. As you can see, I have the coloring on, so if it clips to dark, to totally black, it turns blue, so I know where not to go any further, not to just make it totally dark. Yeah. Then I often want to do also a regular round or some more regular shape mask, just to get a little bit more, I don't know how you would call that, liveliness, a little bit more sort of interesting things on the surfaces. So let me do that. There's a bird poop. Let me get rid of that. Oh, I don't want to get rid of the bird poop because I don't want to remove stuff from my picture, but let's make it a little bit less obvious. This is also an artistic choice, not to emphasize bird poop. Yeah, maybe something like that. Okay? The pier obviously pops up now better. I'm just looking at this picture. You can't see me looking at it, but this is exactly, I might stare at my edit for minutes and just look at it and just think about, what do I think about it? Let's remove a little bit more dirt. There is something in this corner, something probably from the scanner. Let's take those off. Yeah, I could probably actually add a little bit more light to these parts here. Let's see what it would look like. Yeah. Okay, then what I typically do for the night sky especially is that I add a little bit more darkness to the top of it. Just pleases my eye. Not a lot, but just a tiny bit. And then let's think about artistic choices. I could of course bring out now this middle, make it brighter. There's nothing wrong with that, but I don't want to do that. That doesn't, no, I just don't want to go there. That would be a different artistic choice, which I don't want to make. So I don't want to go there. But then I want to make sure also that the brightness of this image, that I use the full spectrum. I don't necessarily do it always, but there you can look at the curve and you can see that there's a lot of stuff up at the lighter side of the picture that I'm not using. And then here at the end, also at the black side, there's a lot of room still. You don't need to fill these up. I don't feel it necessary. Some people do. But I could of course add some contrast there. And then add some exposure. Need to be careful, and the same would happen actually if I would draw this one here. Now, but I don't want to go here. Now I would, this is actually, I would just add lightning there and I'm still not clipping at all. Like nothing is turning too bright, but I don't want to do it. I just want to keep it like this. So this is where we started from. And here is my edit. What I wanted to do is to keep the night as a night. Well, it's a borderline case now. Is it too bright? You would argue. I wanted to make the pier more strong and pop. And then I wanted to make it more three-dimensional by emphasizing these things in the front. One more thing. Like this. Yeah. Maybe tiny bit of vignetting. I don't know. And then this never ends. Then you can, as I'm looking at it, I still want to add a little bit light to these sides. And I don't know if this is educational anymore, but I can't just help myself. Yeah. Let's leave it to that. Starting point, my edit. Let's do another one. Let's do a portrait. Evelyn is my youngest daughter, and here's one of the later photographs. Now this is interesting. It looks pretty strong already. And yeah, I photographed it with Ilford HP5 Plus using Rolleiflex 2.8. So it's probably flat open, the aperture. And then it's pushed to 1600. So there's much less nuances in these pictures now because I pushed it so much. So I have less wiggle room here. But okay, let's make a copy. And then I know this is wrong way around. I need to turn it the other way around. Yeah. Make it square because this is by far the best aspect ratio of any pictures. That's just my opinion. So what do I want to do with Evelina now? I like the look on her face. I like her looking straight to the camera. It's pretty strong, her view. But the lighting is not perfect. Her face is a bit dark, especially compared to this hand. So that's something I may want to fix. And somehow I need to try to get these eyes more piercing. Let's see if I can do it. How much there is material because it is a pushed film. Let's try first with contrast. Yeah, see, I don't want to go that direction. And then with less contrast, as you can see, I mean, there's no more nuances or information coming. It just turns into gray. So let's stay in the middle. And then let's start by bringing out her face a bit more. Let's start with that. That's the most important part of any portrait. Yeah. And maybe I'm gonna push her hand a little bit more back, or make it, you know, it's a little bit, just a little bit too bright to my like this. We still have a problem with her face, which is that this part of her face is too bright compared to this upper part. So let me try to bring out this upper part a little bit. And then this her nose, like the upper part of her nose, is also too bright. So let's get a little bit closer. Yeah, we need to do something about it. As you can see, actually, this picture is a little bit soft. Many people like soft portraits, so I don't mind. It may be because I didn't focus it properly, or maybe because it shook a bit, or maybe it's just the Rolleiflex lens. No, that it can't be. Let's remove highlights a little bit from this part of her face. Let's take that nose in. Yeah, better now. And then let's work on her eyes. I copy that and put that on top of the other eye. One more mask. It's ever so slightly. What about the mouth? Is it too bright? Maybe a tiny bit. By the way, about this artificial intelligence, this is where this Lightroom has gone totally mad. Let me show you. I can select here, select people. It finds Evelina, and then it detects. I can actually automatically choose like facial skin, body skin, eyebrows, iris and pupil, lips. Now this like I show you. Just if I would select lips, and then I would create a mask out of lips, and then I could do crazy things like turn her lips into dark. Yeah, not me. Hey, yeah, okay, let's continue. Here's something that distracts my eye. Let me get rid of that. I don't know even what that is. Hide it a little bit. And then almost all portraits like vignetting. Yeah. This was the starting point. Look at her upper part of her face. It's kind of a little bit in the shadow. And now I wanted to bring it out. Did I do too much? I don't know. And as I said with the previous picture, you can go forever with this. This is a never-ending story. And then sometimes you go too far. And then you look at the picture, compare that to the original, negative. And then you can see where did you go too far, which I just did. Okay, I like this better. Yeah. This would require a little bit more work, but you get the idea. These are the kind of edits I do, and this is how I do them in Lightroom. So you are still here. Excellent. it takes a lot of time. Like, it's really rewarding working with the Lightroom or in your darkroom, editing these pictures. Highly rewarding, but it takes a lot of time. And it's like never finished. You can always try something else and you can create multiple copies. By the way, which leads to this thingy that some people number their prints and they say that they only make, say, 50 prints of a certain negative. And I never do that. And the reason for that is that what if some Monday morning I come up with an idea to do totally different kind of edits from a certain negative. And I don't want to be limited to a certain number, because to me, then that's a totally different picture. Even though it is from the same negative, it's a totally different picture. I get plenty of these idiosyncrasies. I do same things with all my pictures. I always work with the foreground, trying to get something into the foreground with my landscapes. I want to find something interesting that I can little bit shed light on and bring it out. And yeah, I make the sky darker and I use vignetting and those things. But that makes my pictures, whether you like them or not, whether I like them or not. And I let myself do those things over and over again. And when I look at my older edits, I can see the tendency for me to do less and less. I'm much more nuanced now than I was back in the days. And I have a couple of no-nos that I would never do. Like totally removing objects, or like adding too much pop and too much sort of radical emphasis on anything. I'm pretty mild in my edits. Thanks for watching. Next time something else.